Hi. I guess I've lost my voice. It might be a good idea before I start these readings to like actually use my voice before I talk. 'Cause I just live with my little Chihuahua, Dr. Disco, so I don't do a lot of like talking. So, all right. Welcome to my channel. I'm Laura Crapo. That's funny. Anyway, so we'll get through this. So, this is my Quebec shirt. This is one of my like, ridiculous but awesome clothing items that I can never donate to charity because I'm always like, I'm gonna wear this again. Like, I don't know if it was from like a tourist shop, but I think it's pretty good. So props to the person who designs for the tourist shop. All right. So today I'm gonna do a reading, or just like a rambling reading like, on nature and how it's sort of like the real internet, you know. And I mean, it's kind of obvious, but you know, it's kind of like when there's a power outage and it almost like makes life better because like everyone goes outside and talks to each other, and you can look at the stars and, you know, communicate offline. And similarly, like, okay, wait, let me like roll back. So like, I was watching this video. No, wait. It's also like some of the AI responses and stuff seem to suggest that it's like tapping into like the ether, like the consciousness that is floating around, that like people who are intuitive tap into, right? So like if we're I'm not doing an intuitive reading right now, but I'm just chatting about it. If we're kind of electrical beings, like salt water and like whatever, minerals and all that stuff, by extension, like wires and electricity, you know, like radio receivers, things like that. Like there's like an ability to read the ether, right? And we're already like pre-wired to do that ourselves. And so like using computers and stuff is a very rudimentary version of that. So it's like, okay, like right now I'm using my computer and it's like they're useful tools and stuff, but they're really the tool that I rely on the most would be like my connection to nature and my intuition and stuff. Because like over time it's proven to be, even though like it's like the messages are like just feelings, or you know, it's like a whisper, you know, it's a lighter touch than physical world stuff like this it's like rose gold laptop. Like it's over time it's proven to be, my intuition has proven to be more correct and than what you see, you know, in the world. In terms of like guidance for your life and stuff. So I have, you know, I think like yesterday's reading, I'm able to speak better when I'm like kind of meditating a bit. So maybe I'll do that because just chit chatting is like less efficient. Let me just tune into whatever message I get about nature and stuff. In terms of what I'm talking about, like receiving messages and blackouts and whatever. It's kind of like I get the comparison. Like I have an interest in design and fashion and stuff. Um, obviously, but uh, I'm getting the comparison of someone like imagine what am I looking at? Oh, that's that like floaty thing. I'm getting the comparison of like someone like a really good designer in their early years, just making something amazing and perfect, like let's say for a friend, and then they show that off, and everybody goes, "Oh my god, like, love!" And and then next to that is sort of like a copycat kind of fast fashion version of that, whatever. So I kind of feel like you, at whatever capacity for connecting with nature or your intuition you have, versus like these things like and like there's this. I was getting into this in another reading recently, like where the psychology of people like in power, quote unquote, is kind of like psychopathic. Like could the desire to control is like outside of yourself. Like if you just like bring it down to just like your school classroom kind of people, it's like, why are you doing that? Like leave us alone kind of thing. And so like trying to create a dependence on this thing that's like fairly rudimentary, like computers and whatever, uh compared to the real deal, which would be your intuition and nature and stuff. um like it's kind of like a, for lack of a better word, like evil, or like controlling. Like when you look at the tarot card, like the devil tarot card, it's like all about control and like putting chains around people and like intimidation. Like the drawing, it's very threatening or intimidating, like trying to ins- create this feeling of fear or whatever. But like the perfection of how everything is interconnected, and like the positivity and like life is like a very optimistic force, and it's like stronger. So it's like so we have the like, let's say Alexander McQueen made like a beautiful outfit for a friend, and it's just like perfect, and it's just like, oh, like. And then there's the like after he passed, like people taking over his company and creating like not perfect versions of his clothes, or someone copy like a fast fashion copy of it that is just like doesn't hit the same. So that's just the comparison I feel between like nature and like what humans are trying to make that is supposed to connect us all. Like, okay. Like, but like if you had like a 3 day or 10 day long blackout, hopefully not in the winter, but like it would bring people together automatically, because like people have that urge to connect, and right now they're maybe turning to computers and stuff. Just as I am right now. um but as soon as those shut off, like immediately, like things kind of like get restored to like factory setting, which is like nature. And connecting with nature and your intuition. Um, okay. So, like, okay, well, I'm not I just wanna, like, see what my intuition says. Okay. I feel like there's a lot of emphasis on, like, grooming these sort of spokespeople, like, in the media and stuff, to be, like, a trusted source. But, like, if nothing was being, like, broadcast, like, and that same spokesperson was just walking down the street, like, walking down, like, whatever, Madison Avenue with a bunch of other people, you wouldn't notice them, and you wouldn't put them higher than another person. You'd be like, "Oh, they're, like, shorter than I thought," or, like, like, whatever. Or, like, that red blazer or orange blazer that they wear on TV, like, just doesn't hit right, like, just walking down the street. So, like, it's just you'd notice, like, they'd be, like, brought down to earth and just equal to anyone else. And, so just because, you're familiar with their face doesn't, uh yeah, I'm old enough, I've watched enough movies and some movies, like, a few times because like, there's not a lot of movies that interest me right now, but, to the point where you're just like, "Yeah, he's okay," like, someone like Jack Nicholson or something, it's like, it's like, I think you have to give a lot of credit to the director or the editor for some acting, and it's just like, after a while, it's like, yeah, I'm familiar with him, like, iconic, maybe just for being ever present in the collective consciousness for just having seen their face so many times, but if you were just to walk by him, you'd just be like, you know, like or you might know someone who's, like, more compelling or funnier or whatever, then you know what I mean? Like, we don't there's too much emphasis on, like, presenting these, like, characters that are supposed to be, like, influential, but it's like, um, in this sort of, like, blackout scenario, like, it just doesn't hit the same unless they're, like, in every paper, and it's really not in the end, it starts not being about that person, but the f the functioning of just, diffusing, like, I guess that's a French word for the what I'm trying to say, um, whatever, publicizing, like, over publicizing a certain person, but in the end, it's just like yelling like, "Hello, hello, hello." Like, it's just like a it's like yelling hello in the Grand Canyon or something, like, assuming that sound reflects there, but, like, it's just it doesn't add up to much. It's not, like, real. So, and I mean, you can see how it's playing out with a lot of famous people just disillusioned or getting caught up in like stupid stuff and regrets. Like it's not for every like rapid ascent, there seems to be some kind of like rapid descent story that goes along with it. So um connecting connecting with nature intuitively at whatever place you're at is super valid. And even just even not trying to be like super Jedi about it, like just simply being in nature or like just observing it, brings your attention to it rather than something else. So that is a good start. Um, okay. The other comparison I get is, like, I don't know if they still make these, but, like, when I was little, we played with, like, Fisher Price people and, like, the farm set or whatever. We had the farm, the schoolhouse, and maybe the garage, like the mechanic garage. I don't know if either I was obsessed with the mechanic garage that my friend had or we had it, but I kind of think my parents just went for like, keeping it simple, the schoolhouse and the farm. But still, I got a lot of mileage out of opening the the farm gate with that makes the moo sound. Um, but and the doorbell on the schoolhouse. early early like music interest there. Um, so I'm getting also like these people like propping up this sort of Hunger Games, like listen to this person, like oh my gosh, like it kind of the vibe is like these Fisher Price people where they're just like, you know how like I was gonna say Katy Perry's name, but like there's something about her last name that doesn't feel right or real, or maybe it's not her real last name. But anyway, it's sort of like that where from the gate she was sort of presented as this sort of plasticky, like the fakeness or the like her videos were very uh not down to earth. Like uh right. So as an example, so uh someone that's just constantly being put up in on TV or whatever in the news, whatever. Um, but like it just sort of feels like I just get this image of just like it's like feels very dusty and like nothing-ish, like the effort of trying to make these people be so prominent. Uh, it's like kind of a fruitless task, and it's not making like anybody kind of happy in the end. Okay. Also, as by extension, I kind of feel like uh, in terms of music, like music is like an art form that you people naturally like just make up little melodies or goof around or you know interact with music and stuff, as opposed to like people like that who are like heavily fabricated uh I don't know, entities or whatever, like constructions, um where it's not just this person goofing around. Like for instance, my car. Also, I think somebody like siphoned some of my gas. So like I had my car working pretty well, and then it went from 3/4 tank to 0 overnight on a Saturday. And so like now I'm back to biking and like the awkward I'm gonna have this awkward hour and a half bike ride with a jerry can sometime soon when I fill up to anyway, but uh like what was I getting at there? Okay, yeah. So songwriting. So for instance, one time I was like biking and there's like where I live is a bunch of hills. So it's like half the ride is like wee and half the ride is like either really pushing the pedals or walking my bike up a hill. And so like one time I was like walking my bike up the hill, and when I'm like walking near the forest and it's like really alive and like it's like automatically very inspiring and stuff. So I was like recording on my phone just some melody that came to me. And so it's that kind of thing. Like music is just like a fun thing for everybody. But like this other thing of being like a constructed, I don't know, like it's like a communal effort of like all these ideas, all these different people, even like people assisting you with songwriting, which kind of like maybe some people like working together. Like it'd be cool to like see what these people make up on their own, like But so anyway, uh, this feeling I get of what they've made, like these stars, as it were. And they're not really stars; they're just people with a lot of drama, a lot of like overexposure, lack of privacy, like a lot of like mental health issues, like just it's a lot, I think, for the individuals who take part in that. But okay. So we got like nature and like this construction that people have made of these like songwriters and stuff. But yeah, in the end, it's just like it's the difference between having the best like mole, like chicken mole taco, like of all time, versus like a Lunchables and stuff. It doesn't hit right. And these sort of Lunchables that the music industry is making and like just forcing on everybody through this rudimentary version of nature's connectivity. Uh, it's just like, yeah, it's not, this is not it's not satisfying, and it's not making you feel good and like supported and stuff. So like that's what's kind of great about like underground music and stuff, where people have to do stuff on their own or just with their friends, and there's not that overexposure, and it's more natural. And then like when people go to like underground independent music shows, they feel like, oh, I could do this too, like, or it's like it's somehow empowering or human, and it's that sort of touch wood kind of groundedness and stuff. Whereas these sort of like bizarre Lunchables, uh, which I'm gonna call the music industry, I mean, sure, it might capture your attention because there's like, some quick edits and like, flashing lights and whatever. It's like it's not as uh, it doesn't reflect like life, you know, the like true vibe of like life and stuff. Anyway, let me go back to instead of breaking out my one page thesaurus in my mind, like I'll just go back to my intuition. Okay, nature. Yeah, like kind of like without the ability to broadcast through technology and stuff. Like like let's say there was a certain leader giving a speech and then it gets cut off for whatever reason, like a power outage or for whatever reason. It's kind of like then then you're back to just like being in the moment and back to living your living your life. and without direction, as it were, like being presented to you. Like if there weren't daily news broadcasts and stuff like that, you'd be left with just living your life in your community and stuff. Um, and that would like take up your attention and your involvement and stuff like that. So in order to train, just as like an intuitive reading, okay, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just like giving you a view of what I'm seeing in terms of like the benefits of spending time in nature or thinking about it or whatever, versus these other connected type of offerings that exist, whatever, and like what might be more fun for you. So take it or leave it, whatever. This is for entertainment purposes only. And okay. I think too, like I'm seeing like some people who have the patience to watch through this video are sort of taking the time to connect more with nature, and like they're getting these like really inspired ideas that surprise them. And you know, because if you're connecting with kind of life, you're gonna get life, you know. And if you're just spending your time connecting to like sort of prefabricated I was gonna say a real grandparent word, but I'm not gonna say it. But like my grandparents were teenagers in the like whatever the 30s and stuff. So it's a lot of that 30s kind of like fun, like whatever fun loving kind of vibe. Words they would always come up with, make up words and stuff. So yeah, so I'm getting like people that do take the time to like sort of swap out the Lunchables for like a real good homemade stone ground like chicken mole taco, like, you know, the difference, like, so it's like why not have the best experience. And it's with nature, and sure it might take more time to like commune with nature, to like make make that taco from scratch, you know, growing the corn, drying the corn, grinding the corn, you know, like just all the steps, but then it just tastes so much better. Like it's worth it, you know, whereas just having the little Lunchables, like entertainment, just doesn't hit the same. Or what if instead of looking for cool music out there by other people, you tried to make your own? And just like that wonderful process from crawling to stumbling to walking to running, like, is a really worthwhile experience. And the payoff is incredible. Like, you know, while I don't love some of the awkward phases of my own musical career, small c career, like I couldn't have gotten to the good parts of it without just walking through the darkness and feeling the walls of like, where am I even going? Like, what am I doing? Like, what? And I'm still kind of like in that process. But like it's worth it. And like making, you know, like making my own, I'm like, I want to make my own movie. And it's like it's, it's Like, this kind of like no words, like it's sort of an indescribable process of like complete chaos of like there's the what am I doing? Who am I? Like what is even going on? And then you just like put it together and like show it like once a decade or whatever. But it's very satisfying and like people who love music I think anyone who loves music has their own album hiding inside them too, and taking part is like way more fun than just being an audience member and stuff. Um, all right, so there's that being inspired when you connect more with nature. Okay, what else? What else? Yeah, and also like don't become obsessed with like business trends today, like whatever. Like you, if you commune more with nature, door. It's windy today, so there's a reason why that door mysteriously creaked open. Um, Also, I'm so grateful that it's not another sweaty day. It's just like cold in the morning, warm at noon, cold at night. Perfect. Chef's kiss. So yeah, in terms of business ideas, like, oh my God, like, what, what, what are the business trends? It's like all that information, all that, like, what to do next is there when you connect with nature and, like, just allow your mind to, like, rest and just be observant and stuff and just let stuff, like, gently you know come into your consciousness, and the more you have a comfort level with that, the more you can discern between like just like WTF and like helpful information. um so just because there's this structure that exists that is like more and more becoming like one company instead of many companies. Like I'm not gonna name them, but like it's so obvious to everybody like how things are becoming like vertically stacked, like media, like entertainment, like it's the same company, and the more that happens, the less interesting that like nature's beautiful, and so like even billionaires who have these like ridiculous business structures and stuff, they still like going still like buying up land in Hawaii to be like in nature, like like nature wins in the end, like and like natural culture, people culture and stuff, like that's where they vacation and stuff. Like they even though they're creating these like bizarre businesses, like they still depend on nature and like natural human culture to like invigorate them or like you know what I mean? So it's like at the end of the day, it's like, why are you even doing that? I'm sure they even have these moments where they're just like I'm not gonna describe the image I just got, but like let's say they're in their home, in a room in their home, and they're just having a moment to think. Um, they're probably just like, why am I even doing this? Like, but then maybe they feel stuck in it, or they don't know what else to do. They just like keep at it, even though they know it's not even good for them and stuff. Um, just like put your focus and your energy on like what works what is beautiful, like what, you know, like undisturbed nature is like really nice. So why wouldn't you put like all your eggs in that basket? So put your attention on what is beautiful and what works and what is like life affirming and stuff. And like these sort of constructions that people make up with each other, like in these constructions that they have to keep like monitoring and controlling, and because it's not made from nature, it's very like dependent on like constant supervision, and it's exhausting. It's like running a prison or something, like having a big music corporation or media corporation is literally like running a prison and like trying to control everything, and it's like negative and exhausting for all concerned. So these are just like intuitive impressions I'm getting. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, I'm just like vibing on the theme of nature and why it's like good to tune into it and stuff. So I would just like the if you step back a bit from some of the news or like entertainment, these things that are these structures that are in place to capture your attention and your energy and your finances and stuff, like sure, there's choice A and there's choice B, but like as an investor, like maybe you want to invest in nature. It's just an option here. So I'm just gonna wrap it up there. Oh my God, when I look at my hair is in a really awkward stage, but basically in order to get like the real deal hair after you've dyed it, you have to like grow it out or cut it all off. But for now I'm gonna grow it out and have this like reverse ombre kind of so okay, any last things on this? I just feel like the last sort of comment I'll put on this is like your friends, like people, hanging out. Like there's going to be a lot of interacting with some of these things that are in place, like entertainment, media, news, or whatever. But honestly, like carve out some of your time to change it up a bit and like, watch leaves on a tree move in the wind, or just anything that is nature on the side of nature, like or like some people say some nice words to their water before they drink it, or just any kind of like interacting. What was that? Maybe that's like a little branch that fell on the roof or something, because there's some trees that are like quote unquote dead that I leave for like the woodpecker condos, or like if you leave them to fall on the ground, then like cute chipmunks or toads or snakes or whatever hang out there. Like you gotta leave some housing up there, but occasionally like a little branch will fall on the wind. So okay, yeah. So it's like you don't have to be like, oh my God, like it doesn't have. It's not like that. It's just like simply turning your attention to stuff that is more like uplifting and nurturing you, and like nature uh, does that. So so you don't have to get mad at anything because like old systems come and go. It's uh like they used to make cool looking cars and now they don't. Like there things come and go. So you don't have to like obsess over the status quo today of like stuff. It's just it is what it is. And if you compare it to nature, nature is cooler and already this perfectly interactive system